dust has settled now after the Fraudley fight. There's been a lot said kind of in the media and stuff. What's kind of your analysis of the fight itself?
It went exactly how I said it would do. I said from day one this is going to be a public execution, and that's exactly what it was. But for some reason the people who sort of bayed for this execution complained when the guy swinging from the rope stopped moving. And that's the idea of a public execution. You bring someone up and they're dead. End, finished. But when that happened, people seemed to get upset. Like, oh, come on, I wanted to see more. But the guy, it's public execution. So they got what they asked for. I gave them what I said I'd give them. One-sided beating, exactly what it was. I received one punch in the process. In 3 rounds, I received one punch. I was actually upset that I got hit by that one punch as well. I said I won't receive any punches, so I lied a little bit. I received one. But in a competitive boxing match in the heavyweight division, at the top level, fighting a European champion, a former gold medalist, maybe one punch. I was taking a bit hard on myself. But I see the fight as what it was. It was an event. It was never going to be a competitive boxing match because I was fighting Audley Harrison. But it is what it is. I won the fight. I knocked him out in the round I predicted. Everybody won a load of dough. Great night. I'll have as many of them nights as I can get.
How did it feel to hear kind of when you were fighting the boos from the crowd?
It didn't bother me at all, to be honest. I knew that in the 3rd round those boos would turn into cheers. I knew everyone would be going crazy after I knocked him out because I just wanted him to start throwing some punches because he claimed from the start that I'm going to fight every second of every minute of every round. He didn't do that. He threw and landed one punch in 3 rounds in 7.5 minutes or whatever it was, however long it lasted. So I knew those boos. He got booed walking into the ring. He got booed during the fight. And he got booed on the way out of the ring. And it was a bit sad. I felt a bit sorry for him because I thought it was a bit harsh, the critic he got afterwards. Because I know why he only threw one punch, because I'm a counter puncher. If he would have thrown more punches, he wouldn't have lasted to the 3rd round. He got knocked out in the 1st round. So I know why he was doing that. And even though they were getting booed, he still didn't want to commit himself. But that's boxing, and I'm the heavyweight champ for a reason because I leave no stone unturned in training. I make sure that I'm in the best possible condition. I make sure that I make myself invincible, and that's why I'm going to be the champ for a long time.
And I guess the £5 million kind of numbed the pain a little bit more as well.
It did. It took the sting out of it. Took the sting out of the little bit of booing that I may have got. I bought myself a new pair of shoes. I was quite happy with that, and now I'm quite happy.
Okay. Well. Obviously, everyone's banging on about Klitschko's fight. Is it happening? Is it not? I read somewhere it might not be the next one. What do you say to people that say, I'm not saying it, I'm not gonna get any trouble.
Yeah.
But what do you say to people that say you're scared of them?
Okay. I know I'm not. There's some people that say they're scared of me. Are they? I don't know. I don't think so. We're all both competitors. We're both athletes. We're both at the top of our game. We're both world champions. We both got here because we love to fight. I was the undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world. I then went and beat the biggest heavyweight champion in history, Nikolai Valuev. They've beaten a lot of guys in their time. Nobody, I don't believe, who have the dimensions of the guy that I beat for the title. The Russian, 7'2", 24-stone giant. For some reason they keep fighting these little 6 foot, podgy Americans. But they say they didn't rate that Valuev, but why didn't they're talking about they wanting that WBA belt. So why didn't, in the 50-odd fights they've had, but each, nearly 100 between them, how comes they didn't end up getting in the ring and fighting that giant? It's easy to sit back and say, he's no good, and claim that you want the title. But I went over there to Nuremberg, Germany, where the guy was based, and I took his title off of him. So, I'm the one who gets in the ring and makes these big challenges. I fought John Ruiz. Neither of them two had fought John Ruiz before. A former 2-time champion, knocked him out. And obviously, Audley Harrison the other night. I can't really throw his name out there, but I get the job done. I make big claims, big bold claims, and I get the job done. I knock people out and do it in style.
Okay.
So I'm not. And to answer your question, no, I'm not scared of them. Whoever thinks I am, and you'll see that come fight night. Whatever people say in the lead up to a fight is irrelevant to me. Doesn't mean anything, because once I beat them, I knock them out. I remember before I fought Enzo Macronelli, for a couple of years before, everyone was saying, you're scared to fight him. You're not fighting him because you're scared. Blah blah blah. I was like, okay, you can think what you want. I fight him, I knock him out in 2 rounds. Doesn't matter what they said before, what was written is irrelevant. It just becomes academic because I got the victory over him. So whatever was said prior to that is irrelevant.
Okay, and you're retiring next year?
Next year, the 13th of October, on my 31st birthday, I will not box past that date.
What's your plans? A bit of gardening, a few cruises? Or?
Yeah, a bit of gardening. I've got a little back garden. I'm leaving it at the moment. It's a bit of a mess at the moment, but I'm looking at really getting stuck into it. Get some nice little pot plants there. And I'm looking at a sort of a Caribbean flavour to the back garden at the moment. So I'm just looking at different plants, palms, stuff like that.
Is that going to be your full-time kind of vocation?
Yeah, for the beginning part of it, get little green fingers going, Yeah.
And then you mentioned going into films.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see yourself as the next Dwayne Johnson, like The Rock?
Yeah, definitely. He's a great actor. Someone who went from WWE, who was the best in his field. The professional wrestling. I was a big fan of his always. Then he got into movies, and he's a good actor. It's something that I believe I could do. I don't think I'd be the best at it, but I'd train my arse off to become as good as I possibly can be. And I definitely feel that I'd like that challenge. I love being on stage. I love being a big pay-per-view events. I love the whole sort of razzmatazz that comes with being an elite athlete, and I definitely feel I'd like to be an elite actor.
Okay. What obviously you've been talking about action roles, but what about, I don't know, romantic comedies or propping up the bar in EastEnders? Does that appeal to you at all?
No, really, no. I'm an action man through and through. I've got my physique, I've got my explosive power, my moves, and I'd like to sort of transfer all of the stuff that I've learned since I was a little kid. I used to do martial arts when I was a young boy. My dad was a martial arts instructor, so I can kick, I can grapple, I can wrestle. I like to sort of move that into the acting role. So definitely action movies. Definitely going to be my forte.
Would you follow Arnie's footsteps in going into politics? What kind of politics would you throw out there?
Mate, I don't think so. I like what Arnie's done. He's another guy who came from professional bodybuilding. He was the best, Mr. Olympia, God knows, 5 times in a row, something like that. Then got into movies. He was never the greatest actor, but he was in great films. And as I was growing up, he was one of my idols. He was someone who I looked at and thought, I want to be like him when I grow up. And he's always in good condition. He's always got a bit of swagger about him. So I'm a big fan of Arnie, and the fact he got into politics and he's the governor of California. Who would have thought it? The Terminator is now the governor. I do like what he's done, and it proves that you can do anything. If you put your mind and heart and soul into something, anything is possible. And I want to be a big time movie star. I want to be, I want to have my name up there in lights. I want to go out there and put on great performances, and I believe I can do that.
You're out of training now, obviously, after the fight. What's after you've had that intense kind of monk-like diet and stuff like? What's your first meal? What's your kind of big blowout after a fight?
Whatever I can get my hands on, whatever's closest to me. I really do let it go. As strict and disciplined and zen-like, as you said, monk zen-like focus I have before the fight, I go complete opposite after the fight. So as good as I am, as bad as I am afterwards as well. And I think you need that sort of yin-yang balance. You need to mix it up. You can't spend your whole life like a monk. You need to indulge a little bit in some of the pleasures that are out there in the world. And but obviously there's got to be a cap on it as well. You can't go too far. You've got to try to curb it a little bit and realise there's another fight coming soon. So now I've had a couple of weeks off. A couple of weeks after the fight, where I've only done a few training sessions here and there, nothing too intense. But I'm looking forward to getting back into the rhythm of training, probably 3 or 4 times a week, just to keep your body ticking over. As I've only done about 4 sessions since my fight, and for me that's crazy. I'm normally training 2 times a day, real hard. So I'm looking forward to getting back into training. So
when you're off duty, if you will, is it just a bit of just booze, burgers, and banging basically?
Yeah, not in that order specifically, but and all at the same time. That could be a bit messy, but yeah, pretty much.
And I bet after months and months of training, you'll be absolutely clucking for a shag as well.
Yeah, there definitely is a bonus, as there's no release before the 6 weeks leading into the fight. So after the fight, it's always a bonus, to be honest. And have you got your belt on you? Do you carry it around with you? I've got this one on me. It's not the title belt. I don't know where this one was from. But I do have this one. But the one that I won or defended against Audley Harrison, it's around the back in the bag somewhere. Do you ever wear it to kind of dinner dates, or you must want to show off with it? Not really. I can't find jeans big enough for these little hoops for it to get through, to be honest. But the novelty's worn off a little bit now at the belt. Whenever I go anywhere, everyone goes, "Oh, bring your belt." I'm like, "Oh, fuck it, give me a break." People always want to take a picture with it. But it's from what everybody else really. Very few people out there have worn the heavyweight championship of the world. The same belt that Mike Tyson, Larry Holmes, all the greats throughout the years had. They had the WBA heavyweight championship of the world, and it's nice for people to take a picture with it. And I do keep it in a bag all the time next to me.
Okay. Speaking of pictures, you're famous for making people get down and do a few press-ups.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna step it up at any time. You're gonna have them go a few rounds with you to get their picture.
No, I think 20 press-ups. I figured out 20 press-ups is just enough graft for someone to deserve a picture and/or an autograph. People thought it was a bit harsh, but when you go out, you say to someone comes up and says, "Oh, can I have a picture with you?" Yeah, no problem. But then you see someone else come up, and you've got somewhere to get to. And although you'd like to take everybody's picture with them, especially when they're messing around with the phone, they don't know how to put the flash on, it gets blurry, or there's not enough memory, or they don't know how to change it because they're nervous. And you think, okay, right, there's 10 people here now. I got to get to where I got to get to. I can only probably got time for 3 or 4 of you. So to weed out who deserves it, you say, give me 20 press-ups for the picture. Whoever does 20 press-ups gets it. Guarantee. If there's 10 people there, 5 of them will go, "I forget you, mate," and walk off. So they're the people who don't really want the picture in the first place. So they might not even know who I am. So the people who get down and give me 20, I don't mind being late to where I've got to get to. If they've got down and dropped and give me 20 on their knuckles, on a concrete, they deserve a picture and/or an autograph.
Okay, last question. Frank Warren had a bit of a pop for you lately.
Frank Warren always has a pop at me. Frank Warren, that's all he ever does. If you read his articles, all he spends the whole time talking about me. He's got a load of good fighters that signed up with him that he could spend his articles hyping up, talking about his young proteges, the guys that he believes going to become world champions. But instead he starts talking about me, who he has no control over, who never will have any control over, who I've never signed with him. So it's always a bit of bitterness that I sense in his right. He's never sort of doesn't seem too honest in his opinions of me. But I can live with that. Whenever I read his articles, it just makes me laugh. It's a bit sad.
Okay, well, he had a pop at you and kind of in boxing as a spectacle, and with kind of in light of what Ricky Hatton got up to and stuff like that. What do you see the current face of boxing to be like?
Boxing is always going to be the same. It's a sport where 2 guys punch each other in the face till one's unconscious. So you can try to make it out as though it's the loveliest sport in the world, but at the end of the day, it's a brutal sport where people can die in the ring. So although people, it might have a bad reputation at the moment. Some of the stars might get up to whatever they get up to once they're retired. Boxing's boxing. Boxing's a tough game. It's done by. I guarantee if you meet any boxer and actually talk to them one-on-one, they're all nice guys behind it. Everyone's got a persona, everyone's got an attitude, everyone's got a bit of swagger to them. But bottom line, they're all nice guys. The guys who put it on the line for people's entertainment. A lot of the time, they're not getting paid that much money. It's something they've always done, and 9 times out of 10, they're not really educated, so they can't really go and do anything else other than boxing. So people do take a shit on boxers and boxing at times, but it's a sport. This is one of the oldest sports in the world, and it'll always be here. And people try to, people don't know why Frank Warren's talking about the face of boxing. I think boxing is a great sport. I believe if you ignore all the stuff around boxing and just enjoy the boxing for what it is, 2 people having a good tear up, then you'll love boxing and think it's great.